You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry Sanderson on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
6-5 in overtime. New York becomes the first team to clinch a playoff spot this year. Predators over the Golden Knights 5-4 in overtime. Nashville extends its point streak to 18 games.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
And good morning. Welcome into the Hump Day edition of Inside the Locker Room. 205-342-9904 as always is the number if you want to get in with us this morning. Let's talk a little Alabama, North Carolina, which will be tipping off tomorrow night at 8:39. I don't know how they come up with the 8:39, but it's it is the first game, I believe, in the West. I don't know. I have to look at that. This is second game. So I don't know. Approximately 8:39. So those are the early games out on the West Coast. Download that Tide 100.9 app to your smartphone, and you can take us with you anywhere you go. We want to thank Yellowwood, pressure treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, believe me, you don't want it. Go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. I looked up that. I think you had asked Justin, and I'm not 100% right. I just Googled the Alabama-North Carolina series. Looks like they played 13 times.
Yeah, I'm not going far. I'm just going far back as date.
And so it looks like, which is respectable. Alabama has 5 wins out of 13, so it's 8 wins for the Tar Heels and 5 for
some of them I wasn't there.
I'm sorry, 5 for the 8-5, I think is the record. So you were there for most of them, though.
Okay, I just mentioned several things that happened before I go into that. We're going to have probably the best show we've ever had as far as up-to-date stuff with you. This week, David Benoit is going to be on today. I'm having Kevin Gray on Friday, at 7:30. He's the one that gave me David. I went to see David, and I had written David a note. We'll go through that with David. But having Kevin Gray on, and Peter Chilcutt will be on tomorrow. If you're interested in Alabama basketball, if you're an Alabama football guy, you can go to another station. But this will give you a little bit of insight. I'm not great at getting Google stuff and so forth and so on, but I do know a little bit. Last night, they not yet. Calipari's coming back at Kentucky. That's the main thing that you know. A really good player from Pepperdine. One of the players I think is coming to Alabama, but really a great one is going to Gonzaga. Georgia beat Ohio State last night by 1. Houston Golf starts this week, and we had basketball last night with Georgia winning that game. Tom Hart was on the call, and but they Arkansas State got beat last night, won in the NIT. So here's what I wanted to do. In '76, I was assistant coach. We went to Dayton, and North Carolina was very, very highly respected. We had a great team. We had Anthony Murray and T.R. Dunn. I'd gotten Reginald King. We had Leon Douglas. We had Ricky Brown. I'm not going to name them all, but we won that game. We went on down and played Indiana and got beat. But one of the great wins for us to go there and win. Then we had a situation, and Peter will talk about it tomorrow. Barry was able to get him on, where that Dean Smith had called me and asked me if I would have any interest in Peter coming back for his senior year. Was I mad because Peter went to North Carolina? I didn't like it, but I said, sure, we'll play. And we brought him in, and we clocked him. And then we went to North Carolina, and I think my buddy's got something on that we got beat at North Carolina. And then my last game, I didn't know it was going to be my last game, but Hootie Ingram made sure it was. My last game in Cincinnati, we lost that game. Eric Montross, the big 6'11" kid who died of cancer just recently, and Robert Horry got into a scuffle, and we got a technical foul over it. And I do remember that part of it, and we lost. We had played a great game against, I want to say, Southern Cal. My coaches in that particular game who studied Southern Cal, I believe that's correct. Barry can check me. They had a great coach, and he told me after the game, he said, I thought we'd clock y'all. And we beat them, and then we played North Carolina, and that was it for me. So we'll talk about those things throughout the rest of this week, because Alabama will play tomorrow night, as Barry has said so. So if you have questions about anything, there is a, and I'm not going to do it today, but there is a really, really good thoughts by Carol Lawson, who's the ladies coach at Duke, about life itself and what goes on in life. Is very, very good. I try to write most of it down. I'm not going through that now. We got too much other stuff to do, but we're going to have some periods of time, Barry and I both, y'all, where we're not going to have a lot to talk about. And I'm going to bring this Carol Lawson stuff up and
I've actually got the audio of that.
She is excellent, boy.
Yeah, she played at Tennessee. Great player. I watched her in high school. So North Carolina, Alabama, I'm looking here. The series 8-5. They played last season, actually. It was that 4 overtime game in Portland that Alabama ended up winning 103-101. Baycott, who plays for obviously North Carolina now, had 20 and 10. R.J. Davis had 19. Mark Sears was 7 of 11 from 3 in that particular game. Now, that game will have no bearing on this particular game on Thursday night. But I had a guy yesterday text me, wanted me to ask you a couple questions about playing North Carolina and Dean Smith, the great Dean Smith. He had a system. I can remember they called it the Carolina break. You'd swing the ball through the trail man and you back screen for him as he reversed it, and they ran a lot of different things. And they kind of kept the exact same system. They would run and double the first pass to the wing a lot. Just talk about preparation. You played Dean Smith, I know at least 3 times, I'm assuming. Just talk about the program there. That's North Carolina basketball is a lot like Alabama football, the tradition there. Just talk about.
Well, they were one of the first teams that'll go 4 corners, and back years ago, I guess we didn't have a shot clock. I can't recall.
No,
that's true.
No shot clock.
And so they went 4 corners. They did a lot of things that were a lot of back screens, which I still believe in, and they were very, very hard to prepare for. And one of the problems that we had in my last game was that after we won the game against Southern Cal in Cincinnati, we were playing them to go to the 16 again. We only had 1 day of preparation, and we had to fight out like a Dickens to win the first game there, because we didn't get the kind of schedule Alabama got this year. We got our first 2 games were Booger Bears. So anyway. We had a scout team, as we did for every and we had we tried the best we could to go with what we did. I don't know if this person heard the show yesterday, but we tried to run Carolina stuff as best we could. And what we would do, we would go in with hard defense, and we would let the pass go through. Yeah. We wouldn't stop the passes from one player to player with our 5-on-5 half court, so that they could get a feel for the screens. And
they were just wanting more like what kind of guy was Dean Smith?
Okay,
yeah.
Well, Dean Smith was he was a hiding smoker. He loved to smoke, but he hid from but he would hide. And he's very, very intelligent. very, not a whole lot of friends. Had a little golfing group he played with all the time. Easy to talk to. He knew the game very well. Was disliked because of the situation with Duke and North Carolina State and North Carolina. Those three little groups right there, kind of, showed up basketball in the ACC. I can recall, this is not part of what that guy asked, but I can recall when I got the job, I decided I would go over to Duke and see what they did defensively. And I flew over there with a couple of my guys. Coach K was nice enough to sit down and just show me his numbering system. He didn't a whole lot of stuff, but I enjoyed that with him. But Dean Smith was, I thought, down to earth, stayed away from people, went through a divorce. I got him to come and speak on our coaches clinic at Tuscaloosa, and he came, and I told him a place I had for him to stay. He didn't want to stay there. He wanted to stay on his own, and he was going through a divorce at that time. I'll let you guess the rest of it, but just down to earth guy that knew the game and it's hard to play, and always had good players, and they had great tradition.
Yeah, they had a tremendous system. You know what I like about North Carolina, and Duke this way is too, is they take care of their own. You look at Hubert Davis, who played for Dean Smith. Bob Frederick is a North Carolina guy. Jeff Lebo, the former coach at Auburn, he played for Dean Smith, and Sean May played for Dean Smith. So they take care of their own, and Duke does that a lot too. They hire their former players, and because they have a tradition there and they want to continue that tradition. That's not done at Alabama. That's okay. It's not done at I can't think of one Alabama football coach that played at Alabama, and I'm curious as to why. Petway was here, but that's kind of a neat tradition they have there.
I had the good fortune of calling some games on the radio, Duke and Carolina, 2 or 3 of them. So I got to go there early and see them try to hold the doors back for the people they would be camped out all night. The Duke people would, and to get in. And so when they put us in the thing, they put, for whatever reason, they put me right next to Dick Vitale. I wasn't working with Dick Vitale. I was working with I forget who, but Dick Vitale was way up there, and Dick Vitale's only got one eye, and he's going to talk loud, but and then if you need to go to the restroom during all that time, forget it. But anyway, the Duke thing was big, and I had the good fortune of calling 2 or 3 of those games.
One of my funny North Carolina stories. I was at Wake Forest. We're playing North Carolina. Matt Doherty. I guess Matt took over for Dean Smith.
Yeah.
So we're playing North Carolina. We got a good team at Wake Forest, and it's a back and forth game. And I think it gets to overtime. They beat us at the buzzer in Chapel Hill, and they rushed the court, and Matt Doherty is at half court with the students, with the players jumping up and down. And I can remember the article. They were like, Dean Smith, like they are rushing the court after beating Wake Forest. And they were like, Dean Smith would have never done that. They said that made him furious. We felt like we had arrived, that North Carolina rushed the court, beating the poor little Wake Forest over there. So, so we laughed about that. But anyway, all right, we'll take the break here. There's something going on in the transfer portal that I talked to a college coach yesterday. Absolutely, I figured it was happening, but it kind of blew my mind. And it just gives me such a bad taste in my mouth. I want to tell you what that is when we get back from break. Also, the phone lines will be open 205-342-9904. David Benoit at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk to Bill Cameron and find out if they've gotten over that Auburn loss over on the plains of Auburn yet. Saw Bruce Pearl's son was out talking.
Oh, by the way, Barry, I'm sorry. K.D. Johnson transferring.
Yeah. How's K.D. Johnson still even have a year of eligibility? This COVID, these guys play as long as they want. 2-minute truck there at 1330 Martin Road East. As you get ready for this move, you want to swing by there. You want to get all your boxes, your packing supplies, everything to get ready for the move. If you want 2-minute truck to pack you, they could do that for you as well. Whether it's a local move, out of town, out of state, no matter how far you have to go, these guys will take great care of you. They'll take the stress away. Give them a call today for the estimate. 205-247-5050. It's 2 men in a truck. Movers who care.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Our accident in Colleen is still on the board. Highway 11 at Covered Bridge Road, although we're not seeing any backup through the area there. In fact, backup is hard to find anywhere across the T-Town region this morning. If you're coming down from Northport along Lurling Wallace, crossing the Hugh Thomas Bridge and continuing on down to University, you're in good shape there with no big backups along the way. And 2059 from Foster's to Cottondale is moving nicely as well. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Wednesday morning. With the United Mine Workers strike at Moyer Met Coal in Brookwood now history, the union is urging stockholders to support proposals that would eliminate some of the conditions that led to the strike. The package of proposals will be presented at Moyer Met's April 25th shareholders meeting. The union claims the company's poor.
The one-day hands-on driving school gives teens experience in car control through exercises that include emergency braking and skid recovery. Find a class near you at TireRack.com/survive.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance.
There's multiple Netflix specials. Comedian Tom Segura brings his new tour, Come Together, to Mercedes-Benz Amphitheater Friday, August 30th. Tickets on sale Friday, 10 a.m. at TomSegura.com/tour.
Years ago, Jimmy Rain decided that the best way to advertise Great Southernwood was through coaches. Gene Stallings, Pat Dye, Steve Spurrier, and myself, and many more coaches took to the radio and TV airwaves to tell people that if you're building outdoors, the only way to build is with pressure-treated pine, yellow wood. It is the very, very best. Why? Because all the coaches said yellow wood, pressure-treated pine, protects against bug, termite, and weather. Decking, fencing, play sets, whatever you're wanting to build, just go to the internet, look at yellow wood, and you will find these coaches advertise a great product. If it doesn't have that yellow tag on it, believe you me, you don't want it. It's yellow wood.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We'll forecast a partially sunny sky today, the high 68 degrees. Tonight fair with the low at 43. Tomorrow partly to mostly sunny, the high 67. And a beautiful day on Friday, the sky sunny, the high Friday at 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 47 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Your home for Alabama Crimson Tide football. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. Pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, you don't want it. Major League Baseball, I know, starts tomorrow. I was looking here. My wife, one thing she does love to do is watch the Braves. And the Braves, she won't be able to watch them tomorrow. But 2 o'clock, Braves travel up to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies. Spencer Strider will take the mound. So I love to watch the Braves. So that will be starting tomorrow with the NCAA tournament. But this transfer portal, guys, these guys get in it constantly. I was talking to an assistant coach who's not at one of the blue blood schools. He's at a good school down, and there were some kids in the portal, and so that when they get in the portal, they put these guys' information in there, and you know they'll say don't contact. That means they already know where they're going. They don't want 100 phone calls, or they'll have the number in there for you to contact them. So he called the kid, and the kid talked to him and said, "Yeah, I would have some interest, but going forward, you're going to need to talk to my agent. You're going to need to talk to the guy representing me. So now these guys are in the portal. They have representation. So you don't even go through the kid anymore. You have to go through their representation, which I wanted to absolutely throw up. First of all, this kid is an average player with, minimal numbers at a place. Can you imagine now? So they let these guys negotiate the deals for them, and then these guys come back to them and say, all right, these are your options, and this is what you can make at school X, Y, and Z. Is that not sick to you? It is to me. That's
you have a lot of people who want to be agents, and they find out, and they can contact the kid now and tell the kid, I'll be your agent. I think you're worth some money. I watched you play. I think you're worth more than people think, than people say. And so they put that in their heads. And then they represent that guy, and in some cases the mother and dad are involved in it behind the scenes. In some cases they're not at all. So it is once you have all these years you've done it the other way and tried to be right and give a guy a scholarship and those kind of things, it's gone overboard. And don't ever criticize Nick Saban for getting out. I don't blame him.
Yeah, think about that, Justin. Now you don't call me anymore. Don't worry about recruiting me. Talk to my representation. Like, what? So I'm supposed to sell the school to him? I mean, do we just get right down to the number and then you gonna get back to me? Like, is that what we want in college recruiting? And that's what it's come to. The other thing is, and I think the coach at Iowa is correct, that we don't have a system. That Caden Proctor. Are you okay taking him back, first of all, Justin? I know his size, but if a guy went to Iowa, he got in the portal. This is a terrible system, and you can't blame Caden Proctor. I heard Lane Kiffin talking about this yesterday, and Lane said the system is awful. You can get in the portal, go to Iowa, take their money, and then here in about whatever few weeks, the portal's going to open again. You can say, I'm going to go back to wherever and I'm going to get in the portal again. So you could go take somebody's money, never play it down, never shoot a ball, never dribble a ball, and go back to another school and take their money, and there's nothing they can do about it. Does that, if you're Alabama, do you tell Caden Proctor, man, give that money back? That's bad karma. Or will you just let him take it? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, Iowa's put in a terrible situation, but that's kind of just how it is. I think who's really going to be disgruntled, though, is Caden Proctor after leaving and coming back into that Alabama locker room and his teammates going, oh, you gave up on us that quick. He's going to have to do a lot to earn their trust back, I think. Yeah,
I don't think that'll be that hard. I hear you, and I think you're right about that. But I think these kids don't think about it as in depth as we do. Now, maybe when they get a little bit older, but there may be some that say, hey, you walked out on us, well, let's keep you from walking. But that's the system that we have. You got to talk to guys' agents now, and a guy can leave, go take somebody's money, and then come back, go wherever else before they ever even play a down. That's ridiculous to me. I get to the Yellowwood hotline, get Tom in. Good morning, Tom. Hello.
Oh. Hey.
Hey, Tom.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you now.
My phone might be acting up. I may have to hang up. The debate going around that I'm listening to and reading about that's interesting to me is about this being Coach Oates' best coaching job since he's been at Alabama, and they're basing that off of how much was lost last year on the staff and with players and so forth. And I kind of agree with it that he's done a great job. And I said I wanted to bring this up to y'all. You remember the interview you had with Coach Odom during the preseason? It was. Yeah. And you asked him to evaluate Alabama, and he's one of those guys that y'all have on that it's interesting to listen to his evaluation, and then as the season goes, see how they play out. You know what I mean? Yeah. And every game that I went to, I could hear what he said about Grant Nelson, about other players on that team, and I'd be damned if it didn't play out about exactly like he predicted it was going to play out for this year. But still, I don't want to take anything from coach to coach. I always said if they make it to the Sweet 16, that'll be a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's hard to get to the Sweet 16, even who you beat. I mean, first of all, to get in the tournament is very difficult. To get a good enough seed, to be able to get to the Sweet 16, so it's quite an accomplishment. There were some kids that left the team. I don't know if they left because of the Brandon Miller situation. The kid that went to Arizona, he's playing very good. The kid that went to Michigan, they had some guys leave that they weren't able to retain. We'll see what happens with this roster, Tom, when it's all said and done.
I wanted to say was about Coach Odom and his eye for the way things play out with a basketball team. And, it's just amazing to me what some of these people that's been around for a while, what they see and how they conjecture and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he could look at Grant Nelson, and he coached in the ACC and the SEC, and realized real fast that his strength was going to be a factor, and was going to be a negative factor for him. He's not a great shooter. He loses his legs during the game, and so he's. I heard people come.
That's fascinating.
You there? Tom?
Yeah, I am.
heard people talking about him being a top NBA draft pick when they got here. Yeah, and that's not fair to kids.
Gary Harris said he was going to be player of the year in the SEC before he played a game. I swear he did.
Yeah.
I know you got to go.
Thank you, Tom. All right, let's tell them about Bob Prince and Prince Glover and Hayes before we get to David.
Prince Glover and Hayes, 345-1234. Attorneys. Yeah, they are attorneys, but people that know the law. And if you're injured, whether it be an unusual injury because of things that people have done that cause that for you, or where people come after you, regardless of what it is. There are so many different scenarios that you really don't know what to do yourself, but you know that you're physically and mentally hurt. So Prince Glover Hayes at 345-1.
River Resort Silver Star Convention Center. On sale now at PearlRiverResort.com. Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Yellowwood, pressure-treated pine from Great Southern Wood. You're going to build the 5-star backyard, the fence, the deck, the pergola. There's only one product to use. That's Yellowwood brand pressure-treated pine. If you want to find it, go to yellowwood.com to find the dealer that is closest to you. We appreciate Jimmy Rain and all the guys out at Yellowwood. All right, get to the Yellowwood hotline. I know Dad's very excited. I am as well. Now, David Benoit played at Alabama in 88-90. Was at Tyler Junior College prior to that. Actually was undrafted. I didn't remember that. Went overseas and then obviously got to the NBA. Had a great career there. So we look forward to visiting with David. Good morning, David. How are you?
Hey, David.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I got Barry, my son, on with us. David, I'm going to let you tell the story, but I think that when you were a senior in high school, for some cotton-picking reason, I wrote you a letter. And you got to correct it. And then when Kevin Gray, who we're going to have on Friday, came out to Tyler Junior College, I think he came to look at just anybody. He may have come to look at somebody else. But he called me and said, boy, they got a runner out here, a kid named Benoit. And so you tell the story.
All right. I believe how you got the letter to me, it was because at the time, I believe Alabama was highly sought after this kid named Josh Gilbert.
Okay.
New Iberia, Louisiana.
Okay.
And I played against that kid, and I was like, I believe I played really well, so that's probably why you guys probably first noticed me. But then after after that, going to junior college, my purpose was just I just really wanted to get an education, and the scholarship was my way to get there. And being the best at that time would have given me a chance to be able to get to a school like Alabama or even North Carolina if they would have recruited me. But
sure,
be that as may, it worked out really well. So, and I was really excited to see Coach Gray the first time I talked to him. He didn't know that, and he didn't know the history about me getting a letter in high school from the University of NU at the time when I got it. So all that stuff, I just kind of kept it to myself because I just had my plan. I was working, so I didn't know if I would get to Alabama. All I know is I just need to keep working and playing hard. So, yeah.
Well, you could run, and we tried to get the ball to you when you ran up that middle lane. So we bring North Carolina in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me, Coach Smith asked me if we would play them because Peter Chilcutt, who we're going to have on tomorrow, we lost him to North Carolina. Can you remember that game and talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I remember that game because we was really prepared for it because that was one of the games that was on our radar since we started training around really the summer. All the guys was getting ready for that. But a few guys, I guess Robin must have knew Pete. And then there was a whole thing like I believe we made an agreement. If we lost to these guys, they was going to have to, you know what I mean? It was going to be tough. They was going to know they played against a really good basketball team. And but you had us really prepared, and we just really executed everything, we worked on, and it turned out to be a great game. I believe that game was on ESPN too.
Yeah.
It was a big televised game. So yeah, that was a big spotlight for not just our team, but for the University of Alabama at that time.
Okay, you left us and went pro, and I think you've coached and I think you played and coached. Tell our listeners about that.
Yeah, after I left University of Alabama, I got opportunity to try out for the Lakers, which I did make it, but it got me someone from Spain saw me. And that's how I kind of took the job over in Spain. And that started my professional career in Spain. So from there, I was able to do the same things I was doing, working hard and just preparing, getting ready for the next opportunity. And then it came up through Utah Jazz.
Okay, so tell us about that. Tell us about your coaching and playing. Utah and then what?
Yeah, the professional career, it has ebbs and flows. The biggest thing about being a professional basketball player that everyone knows that you're listening right now is staying healthy and being healthy. If you're not, then you know that the opportunities, it doesn't matter if it comes. You're not going to be able to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. I would just keep saying that. I was lucky throughout my professional career not having some major injury. And then after playing in the NBA, I got a chance to play with actually the one of the Chinese players, Yao Ming, from Shanghai with the Shanghai Sharks, and I won a championship with him, and that's how he got to the NBA. And I'm actually still happy about that accomplishment because to see what he did afterwards was really awesome. I ended up in Japan, and that's where I played a little bit, but then that's kind of where my coaching career kind of started. And I coached the Saitama Broncos. I was there for about 3 years. And then Kyoto Honorees, I was there for a year. Yep. And got to the Middle East from there with the Al-Sadd, which was the Royal Family team. And I coached that 1 year. And I enjoyed coaching, and I got to understand all the stress that you was under dealing with us.
David, this is Barry. That reminds me back to your days here at Alabama. You were here 2 years. Really good player, great athlete. You guys had really good teams. And something happened one night. You came in late or something. You guys lost to Mississippi State. Somehow Dad found out about it. He put you through the toughest practice I think I ever remember. I can't remember how many sprints. As a matter of fact, I'm surprised you take his phone call to this day, the sprints that you ran. You were, I think, you had to run the 7 down and backs in a minute 30. And I don't know how many times they made you do that. I remember you were running. You were so dizzy just for running. I don't know if you could do that.
I did that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you did it.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did it.
Do you remember that practice and how much they ran you? But I think most guys would have quit. That showed me right there.
I couldn't have him quit.
That showed me right there that David Bidwell was going to go on from Alabama and have a great career. Do you remember that particular practice and how much he ran?
I remember that practice because I didn't want any of the guys to feel sorry for me because I was the one who broke the team. Which I believe it was a curfew or something like that.
You curfew rule.
And I should have had.
They shouldn't have checked.
Yeah. Coach is a lot nicer right now. He was a lot tougher back then.
Yeah. So talk about that practice.
That practice was for me, and it actually showed me how far I could really go because I was in, and I believe he had me in every drill. I couldn't get out of. I had to be in every drill.
Yeah.
And it wasn't and my break was like, but wasn't it? I don't think my break was 60 seconds. I think it was 30 seconds. But I remember being real exhausted, but in my mind, I was saying, you did this, you got to complete it.
Yeah.
And I got through it. And, I believe it actually united the team even more.
Yeah.
Because you had the guys who were surrounded. Come on, Dave, you could go. Don't give up. Keep going. Don't let them. Yeah.
I remember walking by saying loud and saying, "Do you know CPR? Because you may have to use it here in a few minutes."
God, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So, but also talk about your time here at the university. Some of the guys that you played with, and do you still stay in touch with those guys?
Yeah, I'm really in touch with. I'm actually just starting to be in touch with a lot of the guys now, like Gary Waite. Yeah. I've been in touch with Robert, of course, because of the NBA and Keith Askins when we would see one another.
I couldn't find you for a long time. I never found you.
That's because I was overseas, Coach. So I think everybody thought I was gone. I don't know, but I was right there in Japan. So.
Well,
anyway,
somebody sent me somebody called me and said, I think I know where David Benoit is. I can't remember because I kept saying, I can't find him. I have looked everywhere for him, but I can't remember what happened. But somebody sent me.
Yeah,
and I believe when I spoke with Robert, he was the one that gave me your number.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
Finish talking about those guys, David.
But all those guys that came through at the time, it was a mentality because our goal first was just to win the SEC. It didn't matter. Regardless of what happened, let's win the SEC. And then if we can get the championship, that's the icing on the cake, the national championship. And so it was great being around in that environment at that time, especially with Coach Sanderson, because we worked more in a way. It was more of we didn't say me, it was team. And even if someone got out of order, he looked out of order because it was about the team. It was about if the team has success, everyone has success. And so I should say from the beginning I wanted to be at Alabama. So when I was able to get there, I just really enjoyed my time. And I even helped especially with the recruiting, the guys who was coming in. after us, getting those guys in like Spreewell and Antonio McDyess. So, you know, I had a hand in, Jason Caffrey, I believe, coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got to, I visit with those guys when they were visiting. So I was able to, you know, tell them what a great place this would be if they came to University
Was that
of Alabama.
before or after that practice? You told them how great the place would be.
That was after. You know, Bear trying to get, you know, I know what you want, Bear, but you ain't going to get that. I told you, Coach he was always fair from day one. Hard but fair. And that's all you ask for.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
And so, Barry only had these four. But I enjoyed my time, man. You know.
Well, I found out when I found him, he's driving a big truck.
Yeah.
And just to say that, Barry, just shows me that here's a guy that got through coaching. He was going to be bored if he didn't work because he's got some money, and he's driving a big truck. And I thought that was so interesting to me. Tell our listeners about that.
Yeah, because after getting back from overseas, and my family's growing. Keep in mind now, my wife and I are married. We got 8 children together, and we were having children. Yeah, we had 3 overseas. We had 3 in Japan.
Day in the morning.
So, yes, we finished with 8 because we had 1 in Alabama when we got back. But after getting back, I wanted to try to get into coaching any way I could, but that opportunity didn't come. If I had one, it was going back overseas, and I didn't want to go back overseas. So I found truck driving, and then I kind of got into that. And to be honest with you, it's almost like preparing for a basketball game. You know, you got to make sure everything is in order and proper working order. You know, you're doing your pre-trip, making sure your tennis shoes is right. You got to make sure your tires is ready, all of that. So I kind of approached it that way, and it was the whole logistic and the mathematics of it, same as basketball. Being on time, you know, making sure you got your stay on schedule and on time deliveries. So, and I mean, I'm still to this day, I miss it because it was I enjoy doing it.
Tell everybody where you living now, David.
Right now, I'm living in McDonough, Georgia.
Okay.
I'm south of Atlanta right now.
Okay.
And so, yeah, but we actually moved here in 2013. Okay. So we got a house here, yeah, Well, and it's just been great, man. Ever since, it's just been great. So
I hope if you're ever in Birmingham, I want you to come see me. I care a lot about you, boy. You were a player. I'm telling you, we could run you down the middle of that lane and get easy baskets. You were and you were easy to coach too.
Yeah, either way, yeah, exactly. And by the way, at last, one little tidbit before you guys go. I have a daughter named Zakia, and she's going to be graduating from the University of Alabama.
Wow, great.
In May.
Great. Well, are you coming to graduation?
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll call you.
Call me. I'll come down and see you.
Okay. All right.
Talk about real quick before we let you go. Alabama takes on North Carolina tomorrow night with a chance to go to the Elite Eight. They've been Elite Eight one time, but I don't know if you got a chance, how much you've gotten to see Alabama this year, but just talk a little bit about this game tomorrow night.
The style of play of the game has changed a lot because everybody's taking a lot of threes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're listening to me. But Alabama has always been defense first.
Yeah.
The defense always fueled the offense. And so I believe if they come out and have that same spirit as far as taking that challenge on defense first and stopping them, then every part of the offense will work out just fine.
Right.
If you're shooting threes, layups, whatever you want, that's how it works. That's how it will go. And I got to watch him play quite a few times, and I just noticed that when they are playing team ball, there's more continuity when they're moving, when they're coming down the court, instead of just one guy holding it and jacking the shot. I think the offense worked better. Everything just works better. And so I'm giving it up to Alabama. I'm not going, I'm never going to go against them. I'm hoping that they play the game that they want to execute. So,
well, I really appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you being on. That's great. It's a great interview to see a young man like that go from high school to junior college to our university, and to do what you've done, and have kids come to the university and play in gosh, you've been all over the world. And
yes, sir.
That's great.
All over the world, Coach.
Yeah.
I literally got to go all over the world. China, Japan, Middle East,
besides the United States, was any one place that you really liked besides the United States that you liked better than the others?
The place that I liked the most?
Yeah.
I would have to say the first place when I left the country was Spain.
Okay.
And I believe that this is because they were so hospitable and so nice. Because I'm just I had the time 22-year-old kid, and I'm out first time leaving the country, and they were great. They made everything comfortable. They actually made being a professional there too really easy. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And I was it was Marbella, Spain.
Yeah,
that's where I was. Yeah.
You call me now when you come to Tuscaloosa. I'll run down there and see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
David, we're gonna be at the graduation. Yep.
Thank you very much, David, for your time.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Roll Tide, roll.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
There's David Benoit.
Boy, what an interview.
He's been a lot of places, and coached over in, I guess he said Japan. Where all coached and played. And, but he, I don't know, Justin, you're too young to obviously if you ever saw him. But
a lot of our audience is.
This joker was athletic, and he could run. And he ran a lot that one practice. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have that road work that's rolled out again on eastbound 2059 between Joe Malisham and the 359. Right lane is blocked. Only the left lane is passable, and the backup is starting to get a little bit heavy there. We've also picked up an accident in
Guarantee.
Text support to 511-511. Morning Kick. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We'll forecast a partially sunny sky today, the high 68 degrees. Tonight fair with the low at 43. Tomorrow partly to mostly sunny, the high 67. And a beautiful day on Friday, the sky sunny, the high Friday at 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 48 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Need to know what's going on with the Crimson Tide? Then subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive content on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I think Yellow Pressure Treated Pine from Great Southern making this 7 o'clock hour possible. If it doesn't have the yellow tag on it, then believe me, you don't want it. I guess Kentucky, John Calipari and his AD met yesterday. It came out. I don't know why they had to say this, but his AD said he will be back. I don't think, was there ever any question as to whether he'd be back? There is a rumor out there, and this is just a rumor, so I'll throw it out here, that the coach from USC, Southern Cal, is going to go to SMU, and they think with John Calipari's relationship with LeBron James, that would be a possibility. Could you see John Calipari packing up and taking it to L.A.? He already do some good recruiting out at USC. Could you see that happening, Dad?
I'm surprised the coach of USC kept his job. He struggled like crazy. I think, Barry, that the athletic director at SMU played for me. I think he was a basketball player on our team when I was coaching, I think. So he's been around the block a few times. So I don't know. I think that that'd be strictly a rumor.
Yeah, and I don't know that the guy from USC will go.
USC, a guy who has to suck up his guts to keep his job. He was in the league with Scott.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe so.
We'll see what happens there. But SMU is open. I don't think Oklahoma State's hired anybody. There's rumors that Louisville, that Indiana State win and that they were going to hire that coach. Now, he doesn't play again until next week, so I don't know if you can wait on that. I hear little Richard Pitino possibly is a name now that's popping up. I can't imagine that would happen, but it acts like it's getting a little bit of traction there. So I don't know. I think they're swinging and missing at Louisville right now.
Well, he could. I guess he could be a prospect. I don't know. He's been a couple of different places, but he's at New Mexico now. I thought their team would be actually kind of picked their team maybe to win, but they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't see that luck.
All right, we'll go ahead and take this top of the hour break. We can open up the phone lines 205-342-9904. We'll have Bill Cameron join us at 8:15. Stephen Pearl was out doing a lot of talking yesterday as well. We'll talk to Bill about what he was saying. That's the Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, the home of Alabama sports.
counselingservice.org/DBC or may be purchased at the door for $40. Proceeds benefit the Family Counseling Service of West Alabama.
Years ago, Jimmy Rain decided that the best way to advertise Great Southernwood was through coaches. Gene Stallings, Pat Dye, Steve Spurrier, and myself, and many more coaches took to the radio and TV airwaves to tell people that if you're building outdoors, the only way to build is with pressure-treated pine, yellow wood. It is the very, very best. Why? Because all the coaches said yellow wood, pressure-treated pine, protects against bug, termite, and weather. Decking, fencing, play sets, whatever you're wanting to build, just go to the internet, look at yellow wood.
Mobile One or $100 gift card.
Never been so excited for an oil change.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. No purchase necessary. Terms at AutoZone.com. Ends 5/27/24.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
News from the NFL, where owners have approved hybrid kickoff rules for the upcoming season. Any kickoff that ends up in the landing zone, that's between the goal line and the 20-yard line, must be returned. Touchbacks will be marked at the 30-yard line. No fair catches will be allowed, and no surprise onside kicks will be allowed. In the NBA, 4 games, Lakers beat the Bucks in Milwaukee 128-124 in double overtime. Without LeBron James, LA rallied down 19 points in the fourth quarter to force the overtimes and get the win. Anthony Davis led the way with 34 points and 23 rebounds for LA. Thunder over the Pelicans, 119-112. Oklahoma City moves a half game back of idle Denver for the top spot in the Western Conference. Warriors beat the Heat 113-92. Mavericks down the Kings 132-96. In the NHL, the Rangers down the Flyers 6-5 in overtime. New York becomes the first team in the NHL to clinch a playoff spot. Predators beat the Golden Knights 5-4 in overtime. Nashville extends its point streak to 18 games.
Inside the Locker Room with former Crimson Tide basketball coach Wimp Sanderson and his son, former SEC and ACC assistant basketball coach Barry Sanderson. It's time to take you inside the locker room on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the second hour of Inside the Locker Room. Rick Hart, Dave Hart's son, is the athletic director. I looked that up at SMU. But Allstate Insurance agent Andrew Kniffer. Andrew's my agent. Let him become yours. 4705 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 3 over in Northport. Give Andrew and his staff a call. You're looking for home, life, auto. I made the change. Andrew takes great care of me. He'll do the same for you. 205-722-9201.
Did he play at Alabama?
Rick Hart, no. I think he went to North Carolina. Yeah, but you know Dave Hart. You know Dave.
Where is he?
Dave Hart used to be the athletic director at Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's his son. Okay. All right. We're going to go out to Skyland Boulevard. Cars are flying off the lot down at Tuscaloosa Toyota and get Justin Troll in. Good morning, Justin. How are you?
Man, how are y'all doing?
We're good, man. We're getting ready for some Sweet 16 action, some good games with all these seeded, high seed teams making it. It makes for some great games on Thursday and Friday. And so we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's find out, where's the total, Justin? How many cars have we sold here during y'all's March Madness?
Let's say March Madness right now sits at 322 so far. 322. Wow. We've been busy, right? We have been exceptionally busy coming off a record-breaking February. You know, you would think things would slow down, but they have not. They've actually sped up, Barry. 322 is a large number. And, you know, we've still got a few days left in March and month-end close. And, you know, anytime everybody tells you in the car business, you know, the last few days of the month, everybody's trying to hit objectives and stuff like that. We have way surpassed the objectives and stuff, but the reason we surpass the objectives like that is because we price everything to sell, you know, not what we hope to get, and we're not in love with anything. That's why cars fly off the lot at Tuscaloosa Toyota, where it starts at the website, where you can easily look at everything, get everything done right there in advance, and when you come to the lot, we get you in and out, and everybody loves, you know, that process. And then once you get through that process, people continue to buy because it's the best service department in town by far. I mean, this service department runs 150 to 175 cars on a daily basis, you know, through there. And when you sell 322 to 350 a month, that's why you have to run, you know, 175 cars through, because you're selling that many, so you got to service that many, and it's service after the sale. So, you know, we like doing business with people, but it don't stop at the sale. It just starts, because we service your car, you know, every 5,000 miles, and you got to have a good service department. And that's what keeps the business booming.
Out of those 300, what do you ever say, 22? What's the most popular one going now, Justin? Is it one of those Tacoma trucks, the Grand Highlanders, the RAVs, the Camrys? What's the biggest seller right now?
Well, you know, so there's a lag period in between the 23 Tacoma getting there and the 24. So now that we have the 24 Tacoma that just started getting here a week and a half ago, that's really bumped the numbers, because now we've got that product to sell, and people's, you know, coming to see the Tacoma, they're driving it, they're finding out what a machine it is. So that's helped. But it's always going to be the Camry, the RAV4, the Corolla, the Highlander. That's the biggest pusher, you know, because obviously the more, you know, higher volume products are always going to sell. The ones that are the cheaper products go off the lot the fastest. And you've got I'll just tell you, the RAV4 is the number one selling vehicle in the United States by far. So that's probably the one that flies off the lot the fastest. And then you got the Camry. That's always been the number one sedan, you know, in the United States. So those things fly off the lot very quickly. But we've supplemented it, you know, with a Grand Highlander that's all new. It's taken over the market, let me tell you. And then you've also got, you know, the Tacoma that just hit the lot. So a lot of things, a lot of special things to see, and a lot going on. And when you have these products, you get awesome trade-ins. So when you sell 322 a month, just imagine the amount of trade-ins you get. And they're all really good trade-ins that makes our used car lot just that much better.
Yeah,
Well, I don't. Mine is. I'm well pleased with mine. It's not the one that's the highest selling.
You're in the Venza, right? The Venza.
Yeah, right? I like it. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
So Sunday, I'm out to eat for lunch. We took our whole family. There's like 20 of us. So we're sitting outside waiting on a table for 30 minutes. And once again, I get asked, "Hey man, I heard you on the radio with Wimp, and I heard he left his car on during the basketball game or whatever." You would be amazed how many times I get asked about that.
That just shows we got a lot of people listening, Justin.
That's exactly right. And hey, so just like Wimp's car, I told him, I said it wouldn't have mattered. He's got a hybrid.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, a lot of people that are unfamiliar with a hybrid product, that I'm telling you, you can record this or whatever in the next 5 to everybody's talking about all electric. That's not the thing. I'm telling you, the hybrid product is the way of the future. It gives you more horsepower. It gives you more torque. It gives you better gas mileage. They're putting it in trucks. They're putting it in SUVs. That right there is the next thing. The performance is phenomenal. If Wimp would have left his car on the whole basketball game, he's on the battery. It doesn't matter because he's not going to lose gas mileage. That is the thing of the future.
My grandson's fault.
It's Jack's fault. All right, Justin, I'm looking here at the website, TuscaloosaToyota.com. A great website there. They got the tabs for the new vehicle, used vehicle. And Jessica will pop up. Welcome back. She says, I'm online if you have any questions. So, Jay, you can talk to Jessica right there on the website. You don't even have to talk to Justin, or you can tell him you're going to go see Justin, or just do it right there. So, Justin, you guys keep it rolling, baby. Let's get over 350. You got plenty of days to do it, so we'll let you get back to work. And tell David, everybody out there, we said hello, Michael Anderson, all those guys. We appreciate them very much.
Well, let's get on. Yeah, let's get on the website, and you can do everything right there, and then let's go watch Alabama get a big win tomorrow night, hopefully.
Let's do it. Thank you, Justin.
Let's do it. Thank you, guys.
All right, there's Justin Troll. Go to TuscaloosaToyota.com. All right, get to Tuscaloosa Toyota hotline. Get Philip in. Good morning, Philip.
Morning. Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
We're good.
Hey, could I change the course of the conversation for just a second?
Sure. Well, we were talking Toyotas. I don't think you want to talk Toyotas, but we'll talk whatever you want to talk.
I actually find his stuff very interesting. I actually find him to be a fascinating guy to listen to. I really do. I think it's unbelievable, the numbers that they pump out, not only sales but service. And I'm also interested. He's good because he sort of goes against the grain talking about the EVs. You can tell that the Toyota people know a whole lot more than Biden, and the hybrids. I think that does sound like the way of the future more than just the EVs.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to talk to you about was the new NFL kickoff tweaking. What do y'all think?
I saw it explained. I don't completely 100% understand. It sounds like there'll be more returns. I know Justin. Those guys spend a lot more time with it, talking about it. They know much more about it than I do. You tell me what you think about it. But I think it's for 1 year to see how it works.
Yeah, it's a trial.
Yeah, I don't know why we have to keep changing the rules and everything. I don't get it.
I don't either, Barry. I don't either. But I'll tell you, on this one, the ball has to land in a designated drop zone.
Yeah.
A ball hitting to the end zone, you automatically get it on the 35. So, to me, why do you need a really good kicker?
Well, probably the guy doing your kicking is probably also kicking your field goal. So that's why you need him.
He could be, but when that ball hits that drop zone, if you don't catch it, that ball is going to be dribbling around all over the field.
But those guys can't take off until it lands? Is that right?
They can't take off until it lands, but if you get a good kick, if you get a kicker that's kind of deceptive and quick and, can use his foot well, and he hits that thing, let's just say he just sort of poops it in the air a little bit, sort of a semi-kick, and that thing hits on about the 28-yard line and you don't get up to it and catch it in time, that thing could bounce around about the 6-yard line.
This is NFL, right? This is not college, just NFL.
Well, it's not college yet. It's coming.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if it will lead to more returns or not. I could see some kickers get really good.
What I don't like about the rule is you have to tell the other team if you're going to kick an onside kick. Come on. I mean, that's part that's part of this. So they can put their hands team out there? Come on. That's ridiculous.
You may as well tell them you're going to run it up the left side of the field.
That's right. Hey, we're going to throw the pass right here. We have to. Did you know that, Dad? You have to tell them if you're going to onside kick. You cannot. If you onside kick without telling them, it's a penalty.
Yeah, that's unusual there.
That's stupid.
Okay, now if you've got an onside kick in order to get the ball back to win the game, what happens there?
Well, you have to tell them you're going onside kick, and then you just got to get it.
Yeah. We're going to try to win the game with an onside kick. Just letting you guys know.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. Eventually, they're going to put flags on, Philip. That's where we're headed. So.
Well, that's what Rush Limbaugh said a few years ago.
All right, Philip. Great stuff. We appreciate you, my man.
Always appreciate y'all. Thank you.
All right. We get some interesting app messages. We got a very positive one today, Justin. Somebody the other day wasn't happy with our take on the Alabama wins, but this guy said, Josh in Northport, thank you, Josh. Coaches, thank you for your work. You make my mornings a lot of fun. Barry, I was blessed to work with my dad for 5 years. Enjoy the blessing. Great show. Great fun. You're right, Josh. I enjoy he and I chopping it up every single day. A lot of times we don't get along. Sometimes we do. But we appreciate the kind of comments there from you. All right, we're going to get to Bill Cameron when we get back from break. We want to thank Royal Cleaners for being a great sponsor. If you want to have your cleaning, they'll come pick it up right there from you. They'll come to you, get it, pick it up, clean it up, deliver it right back. If you want to drop off, University Boulevard, Bridge Avenue, Northport, or 4851 Rice Mine Road. It's golf season. The weather's beautiful now. Instead of throwing those beautiful golf shirts, they're probably $150 in the washer and dryer. Let Royal handle them for you. 205-391-0034. You're listening to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. This is one of the bigger crashes we've had in a while, and it's in a bad spot. Eastbound McFarland at 31st Street. Only the left lane is getting through. Backup is well before the I-20 interchange now. You might want to think about an alternate route. Meantime, eastbound 2059 between...
Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We'll forecast a partially sunny sky today, the high 68 degrees. Tonight fair with the low at 43. Tomorrow partly to mostly sunny, the high 67. And a beautiful day on Friday, the sky sunny, the high Friday at 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 30-40 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 50 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to Inside the Locker Room with Wimp and Barry, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We'll get right up to the Yellowwood Hotline. He's with ESPN 106.7. The Drive down in Auburn, Opelika. We every day 4 to 6. We appreciate him joining us every Wednesday. Bill Cameron. Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Hi, Bill.
Hey, Barry. Well, how are you guys?
We're
fine.
Bill, let's talk NCAA tournament. Obviously a crushing loss for Auburn. You know, we talked about their seed. I heard a rumor that Bruce Pearl was really getting after an SEC official, not a referee, but maybe an official after the game. And I don't know if he was complaining about how far they were sent, maybe their seed, the frustration of his kid getting thrown out. Just talk about that situation with Yale, with Auburn, and everything that happened there.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question there was frustration there. There had to be. I mean, I think there was so much talk about having to go so far and where they were seated and the bracket they were in and things like that, you wonder if that was a bit of a distraction. But, even with all that, with Chad Baker-Mazara being ejected less than 3 minutes into the ball game, Auburn still should have won the game. They had a 10-point lead with 7.5 minutes to go. But then, sure, after the fact, then you're absolutely still frustrated and wanting to wanting to lash out. But I mean, a very disappointing finish. One thing that I've tried to do this week, I mean, is let people realize that it's disappointing. There's no question about it, and it's nothing to. Sure, you don't want to be satisfied with being bumped in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But when I hear some folks and not just fans saying, well, this season's a total disaster. It's nothing but a disappointment. There's nothing to be happy about when you get knocked out in the first round. Sure, you're not happy with that, but you won the SEC tournament. You won 27 ball games. It's not like it was an embarrassment of a season. I think hopefully that's something that for some fans, I do wonder at times, and I'm not a kid anymore. I do wonder sometimes that if you don't win it all, you're a loser mentality. I mean, that's something that I have a tough time with. But you're right. There were a lot of things that people were wanting to point fingers at, and I can understand that, especially right in the wake of such a disappointing loss.
Yeah, that.
Well, everybody can coach. There ain't no doubt about it. We got a bunch of coaches.
Yeah, you're right. Just ask.
KD Johnson is, and I'm not saying this to be, I'm just news. He's wanting to transfer, and probably because he's coming in as a substitute at certain times, and he gives a lot of effort. I think sometimes he's off track, but most of the time he helps them energy-wise. And I know everybody's going to have transfers. Did this kind of did you expect this, or did Bruce expect this?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I think everybody felt it was KD's last season here at Auburn. I mean, he's played fewer minutes this year than he has since he's been here. So yeah, I can understand him wanting to get more playing time in his last year on the collegiate level. Now, what's going to be interesting is let's see who's back, what other guards are back. I'd be very surprised if Denver Jones is not back. But of the 2 point guards, Aiden Holloway and Trey Donaldson, are they going to be back? Will either of them be back? I mean, that's what we don't know, and it really appears that Auburn is looking for that one thing that they didn't have this year, and that's an experienced hand at point guard. They're bringing in a very highly touted point guard in Jahad Pettiford, but I really think that you look around, you look at the tournament and the Sweet 16 right now, and the thing that most teams, if not all the teams have, is an experienced guy at the point.
Yeah.
What about Janiah Broome? Can he come back? I guess he's a junior. I heard somebody say, let's start with him. Let's find out what we need to do to get him back there. We'll see about the NBA for him. I know he tested the waters last year. I don't think you can do it twice. I think if you try to do it twice, you have to go. So obviously one of the best big guys in the country. If you get him back, then you got the centerpiece there that's hard to get. What are you hearing there?
Yeah, I'm hearing that Auburn's doing everything they can to put together a package to try to get him back. I mean, he had a great year. There's no question about it.
Sure did.
But is he going to move up that much in NBA scouts' eyes? I just wonder, if he's still a second round or even a late first round guy. I hear that Auburn's really doing what they can to put together a package that would challenge what he could be making. And of course, if he came back, he'd probably be your preseason SEC Player of the Year and a candidate for National Player of the Year. And and would obviously be that centerpiece that you could build things around. So they're going to do everything they can. And I don't think it'll be terribly long before we find out if they've done enough.
Yeah, I was talking Dad and I were talking the first hour. I talked to a college coach yesterday. The portal obviously is filling up. He reaches out to a kid. The kid tells him he'd have some interest. He said, but from here on out, you got to talk to I got to have a representation. So you have to go through him, these people for now on, in order to recruit me. That's what we've come to in college athletics. You know, even the fact that Caden Proctor can go to Iowa, take their NIL money, and then here when the portal opens up here in a few weeks, can get back in it and come back to Alabama or wherever. What a terrible, terrible system, Bill.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's a great example of how broken it is. And, hey, I don't blame the kids for doing that if it allows you to do that and go pick up a nice nest egg and not even have to do anything and be able to turn around and come back. I mean, it's not their fault. It's the fault that we don't have any system in place to be able to try to prevent something crazy like that from happening. So I'm not surprised when I hear any of that stuff. I'm disappointed, and I just hope that somewhere before too long we can have something to at least put some parameters, slow things down, keep it from being such a it's just an
think about it like this.
Uncontrolled.
If you were Dad, and Bill, if you were Janiah Broome or Mark Sears can come back. If you were their parents, get your representation and get in the portal and just say, hey, if you're not calling for the $1 million, we're not even taking your phone call. I mean, that's what you can do, right? And those two guys could probably get it, right, Bill?
Oh, they absolutely could. And there'd be plenty of schools that would want to do it, but the thing is, there's no guarantees just because you've got that, as we saw with Caden, that they have to stay there. They could take it, then they'd still go somewhere else.
Yeah, that.
Baseball-wise, Birmingham Southern gives up their program, which is
that's sad. That's sad. That's been one that I've seen Auburn play in Birmingham Southern and playing at Birmingham Southern for years and years. That's really sad to see.
Yeah, I just wondered if, baseball players there, certainly I know your staff said something about hoping they found what they could find, and it makes it awfully difficult. I want our listeners to know that happened. That's the reason I mentioned
I think Butch was at Birmingham Southern at one time, wasn't he? That's where
Butch got his start on college level.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything in the football area that we need to know, our listeners need to know?
Well, let's see. I mean, you're starting to hear some word from football transfer portal stuff, even though it's not going to officially open until the 15th. We learned at the first of the week that J.D. Rem, a sophomore defensive back, is not coming back. He's planning. He was out there for practice the first couple of weeks. Was not back at practice yesterday when we got the view. He's heading into the portal. I would expect there'll be 3 or 4 more players that, because we're getting toward the end of spring practice and they see that they're not at the top, even though there's not an official depth chart, they know where they're being rotated and what group they're working with. So I'd expect a few more of those guys to go in. Auburn feels pretty good about the offensive line that they put together this spring. They also feel like that they picked up the big left tackle from Mississippi State, Percy Lewis. That's really seemed to have anchored that offensive line. Dylan Wade has moved into left guard, so that they like that, and it feels like there's going to be much better protection for Peyton Thorne, who looks like, unless something crazy happens, he looks like he's sort of separating himself from the other guys. Hank Brown, who played a little bit in the bowl game last year and looked pretty good, making a push for that second spot. Walker White is he's got all the talent in the world, but just trying to, I think, just grasp the speed of the game and get his consistency at times. He looks like he wants to force things a little bit, but I believe that the offense is going to be much improved just because all the coaches have worked together. They understand the terminology. They've added some. They've really added some help there around Peyton Thorne with the offensive line, but especially I believe at receiver. The two transfer receivers, and they're odd. One's from Georgia State. The other, Robert Lewis is from Georgia State. The other is Sam Jackson, who was a quarterback at Cal, but he was a receiver in high school for Peyton Thorne, and he is super quick. Spoke with him a little yesterday. We've had an opportunity to talk to probably 15, 20 players so far this spring, and Sam had an interesting story to tell. He started his career at TCU and was there Gary Patterson's last year, and then Coach Dyke's first year when they played for the national title. And he just was talking about the feeling that he has with this team as far as the chemistry, things like that. But he's been around the country a little bit, and he feels like this is the most talented team he's been a part of. But we keep hearing good things about those two guys. And then, of course, the true freshman Cam Coleman, who, while we were out for about a 15-minute viewing window yesterday, made just a spectacular, sort of nonchalant reach behind his back throw on the only pass that looked like it was a little off by Peyton Thorne. So I think they're feeling pretty good about the way things are going offensively.
We're talking Bill Cameron. Bill, Chris Lowe had an article on Coach Saban that Miss Terry gave him the 10 commandments of retirement. I know you just retired. Did your wife give you the 10 commandments? Okay, you're retired. You're going to be home. This is my home. So these are some of the things that you're going to have to do. Do you have a 10 commandments of retirement from your wife?
No, but I do ask if there's, every day I always want to check and see, what's on the list, what's my plan for the day. So I always check in first, so I know.
One of the things I thought was funny, she told him that you don't have to eat all the food on your plate. Evidently, he just it's a waste of time to eat, so he eats so fast and just cleans the whole plate up. He's like, leave a little bit of food on your plate. You want to go out to eat or when you eat home. So he got through eating the other night and left a little bite of his pickle on the plate and said, here, I left a little bite of the pickle left on there. And he cannot sit down for dinner until she sits down. So just remember that.
Oh, well, that's an important rule. I try to do that, but I've got sort of the same problem. I mean, I can be done, and she's not a third of the way through. So it's almost better for me to be doing something when she starts. So.
Yeah. So
isn't it a mess now when you think about it? You're leaving because you don't have not particularly for that one reason. You got to go through and call an agent. Everybody's wanting to be an agent now.
Yeah,
because they think they're gonna make a profit. I don't have to be a great agent. All I've got to do is tell the prospect to tell the coach who the agent is. And,
I guess though, Wimp, if you want to look at it, maybe some people would look at it, but look at all the job opportunities it's created for folks that wouldn't have anything else to do if they were.
If you get the right player, you can make some money in this stuff.
Yeah,
if I'm got Janiah Broome or Mark Sears, don't call me. Don't call me if you don't have $1 million. You're just sitting there waiting on the phone to ring. And no, if you tell a guy like that, hey, I got you $1.5 million, I'm gonna take $150,000. They're going to do that. I mean, get $1.5.
Mark Sears' mother may be the agent.
Yeah, she could definitely be the agent.
That's probably right. That's probably right. So it need to get it up to 1.1 so that the numbers are even for everybody.
All right, I'm going to ask you a hard question here, Bill.
All right.
Who are you pulling for, Alabama or North Carolina?
Barry.
That's not fair, is it?
No.
Yeah. Well, we asked a couple of folks that yesterday, and I don't think there's a lot of SEC chants that are coming from East Alabama. I tell you what, though, it looks like the committee got it most right, don't they? With all 4 1s and 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s. This is as close to chalk as there's been some crazy things. Obviously, Auburn and Kentucky. were huge disappointments for the conference. But man, it looks like they actually they did pretty well.
Was Bruce upset about something at the end of that game?
He was probably upset about a lot at the end of that ball game. So
I know. I mean, Barry had mentioned something.
It's tough not to let the frustration out, but I mean, the officials didn't miss 4 out of their last 6 free throws, including the 1-and-1, and the officials didn't turn the ball over 3 straight times with Auburn with a 10-point lead.
Well, I said this. I love Bruce Pearl. I love him. But, they let Chad Baker Mazzara kind of act crazy all year. And he runs his mouth and talks a lot. And
he's been asking for that.
Yeah, it's going to bite you at the worst time when you allow it all season. And to me, that's what happened, Bill.
Oh, you're absolutely right. And I mean, look, people could get into this. It shouldn't have been a flagrant 2. It should have been a flagrant 1 or whatever. But the fact that he hadn't really paid for being, look, let's face it, he's been an instigator. He talks. There's always that little elbow. I mean, maybe not as obvious as the one we saw last Friday, but there have been things all year long, and it's been building. Don't think that Yale didn't have an idea. Don't think that they didn't put a bug in the officials. And the officials have been, if they watch any film, if they've scouted, had an idea who they're calling, they know here's a guy that's always in that kind of stuff. So you've got to be ready for something like that. And you're right. It cost Auburn at the worst possible time.
Tell everybody where they can find you, Bill.
Yes, we're still having fun every day, 4 to 6 on the drive. It's ESPN 106.7. It's 106.7 on the dial, or you can on the dial. Does anybody dial? Nobody has a dial anymore. But you can check us online, ESPNAU.com. If you can't catch us live, you can join the podcast. But if you're live, we'd love to hear from you. We take calls all the time during the show.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
I think Bill's very fair about his answers. A lot of people say Chad Baker, it was wrong, but he let it go on, and that's what happens. All right, let's tell them about Bryant Bank before we get to break.
Well, happy to do so, because Bryant Bank is a local bank, and I think that's important in banking. They do the same thing any bank in the state of Alabama can do, but even do it better, because they know you when you walk in the door. 4 locations in Tuscaloosa, locations in Birmingham and throughout the state. Columbiana has one when I go down to the beach. The headquarters is started in 2005 in Bryant Bank, and they be people that will help you. You will generally know them. If you don't know them after the first or second trip, that you'll be aware of what they can do for you. They enjoy online banking, accessible around the clock, which is important, I think. Gives you the freedom and flexibility to sort of bank the way you want to. They darn sure checking to be sure that the businesses that are targeted for fraud, and we have that throughout this country, that you're taking care of, and they know exactly what's going on, and they're very, very close to the things that you do with the bank. I was in there just the other day, and they're good people. So I've been with them a long time. They have a lot of community service, do a lot of community service with the schools in Tuscaloosa and throughout the state of Alabama. It's a well-known bank. If you're looking to purchase a home, and Archie Weaver over at the bank can certainly help you there. So my advice would be to go in, visit with them, compare what they do with where you are now, and I think that you will find that Bryant Bank is absolutely a homegrown bank, a bank that you're comfortable with, and that you can do whatever you need to do.
Lone Star, Saturday, May 25th, Pearl River Resort's Silver Star Convention Center.
No news. This report is sponsored by Think It Up.
For more from Tide 100.9,
let it fly and it.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and SoundCloud.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. We appreciate David Benoit, who joined us In the 7 o'clock hour, we had obviously Bill Cameron just in, but all the interviews, you go on the podcast center, and you can get those. So if you missed anything there, we got one guy I know that goes back and listens to our show each and every day. So all the shows are up there ready for you after the show. They'll post them pretty soon after, so you can go catch those. All right. Tomorrow we got Pete Chilcutt will join us at the 8:15 hour. I messaged Pete yesterday, and he said it would be an honor to be on tomorrow. Tomorrow. So he does do color for North Carolina, but they have several guys that doing it, so he is not going to be in Los Angeles. Actually, he's going to be traveling back to Eutaw, Alabama for Easter to see his parents, I think, who've been living there, I think, over 50 years. So he's coming back this way. So look forward to having Pete Chilcutt on tomorrow. I hadn't talked to Pete in a long, long time. He and I are actually the exact same age. But just your thoughts as the last day of preparation. Alabama has an open practice. It's about 15 minutes that the media can be in there. The coaches and the select players will go to the podium. What happens at the NCAA tournament is the other players are in the locker room, and they have to open up the locker room for about 45 minutes for the media to come in and talk to these guys. So everybody has access to everybody, but it's the last preparation for this game. What do you do today to get ready for the game tomorrow?
Well, you're going to go through it, go through what they do and talk on the blackboard some, but then you go out on the court and try to work on what you do defensively. I think the reason that you do so much of the defensive part of it is because you saw a team last time that you played that didn't do anything screen-wise much. They just went one-on-one. I thought that the game prior to that was a more tougher game defensively for Alabama than the last one. Alabama played hard in the last game, played hard, but for those who don't know basketball a lot, there wasn't a lot of screens, a lot of picks, and so forth. And I think also emphasize the inside game better offensively and defensively. They have some strength there. North Carolina does, and be darn sure that you do everything you can to limit them to one shot. And they're a better shooting basketball team. Team's 2 for 20. They won't shoot a whole lot. They won't live and die by the three. Alabama, you'd probably say, does somewhat live and die by the three, but they also are very good on fast break. So just work real hard trying to prepare and know what your matchups will be, what your substitution pattern is going to be as you look at it, start the game, and I guess to see if these guys that have been a little bit injured are well and ready to play. And I'm in my emphasis, without me trying to go on the limb or tell anybody anything, I think it's a basketball game that Alabama has a good chance to win. That's what I think. I don't know that they will, but I think that they have a good chance. I think they have a good chance to win. I think they shoot it better, and I think that so that's what I think, and we'll see.
Yeah, so they'll play that game in Crypto Arena, I guess, which is the Staples Center. Just has a new name, which is where the Lakers and the Clippers play. I think the Clippers are actually getting their own arena out there.
Does that have a background?
What do you mean?
Are the goals? Are there people sitting behind the goals where there's an open background?
It's an NBA arena. I mean, it's got. I mean,
it's a little bit more difficult to shoot in.
Usually the NCAA tournament uses. Richard Hendrick said this. It meant a lot to me. They use brand new balls, almost like they just pulled them out of the wrapper, and these NBA goals, these rims are so tight. So you see a lot of teams not shoot the ball quite as well. A lot of long rebounds in those situations. All right, let's get to the Yellowwood hotline and get Tim in. Good morning, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, good morning. Barry, your friend that wanted to know something about Dean Smith and North Carolina and all made me think of a interesting story, and I think you still coaching, you might find it interesting. But back in the early 70s when I was still coaching, me and a couple of guys took a road trip. We went to North Carolina and watched them practice, and then we went on up to DeMatha and watched Morgan Wooten's team practice. But while we were at North Carolina, practice is going on, and all of a sudden, Dean Smith stops practice. Here comes a couple of managers. They bring a chair over to the side of the court. And this one guy who had been screwing up during the drills, and he screwed up 2 or 3 times in a row, and that's what got Coach Smith mad. He tells this guy to go sit down. One of the managers brings the guy a Coke. The other manager takes a towel and starts fanning the guy. All the other North Carolina players get on the baseline and start running suicides. But they're not fussing. They're not mad at this guy. They're not saying, we're going to get you after practice. They're cheering for this guy. Mm-hmm. And they're saying, maybe if we run hard enough, this guy will get it right. He'll practice better.
Right.
So then, when it's over with, they start. So afterwards, we got to talk to Coach Henderson. We didn't get to talk to Coach Smith. But I asked Coach Henderson, I said, what was all that about? He said, well, we call it peer pressure training. And what it is if the guy's not doing well enough, we put the pressure on his peers. And I said, well, what happens if one of them refuses to run or they won't run for it? He said, oh, he's gone. He said, if one person on the team refuses to run, the guy that's screwing up is gone. He said, because when your teammates give up on you, we're done with you. We got no use for you. I thought it was and I tried it. It's not something that you can do a lot, but I had one guy that was so tough, he didn't care what you did to him. He was just going to be hard-headed. But one time I did this, and he never gave me trouble again because he didn't want his buddies getting in trouble. He didn't care what you did to him. Just don't mess with my friends. And we had a great relationship after that. But I thought it was one of the most interesting things I ever saw. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. It's like when we talked to David Benoit earlier, he had made a mistake, but he was determined to own up to it and work through it, and made it through it. And his teammates supported him, That's part of it, right, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and sometimes when your dad's gone again, I'm going to call back in and tell you about me teaching your dad how to punt a basketball, but that's a story for another day.
Sounds good. Thank you, Tim.
I'll see you guys.
All right, we'll take the break here. We'll get back. We'll finish up with my main man, Cowboy. You listen to Tide 100.9. It's the home of Alabama sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Our big accident along McFarland is still there. This is going to be on the eastbound side near 31st Street. A crash that is still blocking the 2 right lanes. Left lane is all that's getting through. Backup's a little bit shorter back to 37th. No longer fully back to the I-20, but still a long, slow go. That's part of your drive. Better news from 2059. The road work eastbound between Joe Malisham and 359 is done. All lanes back open. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, I'm Ray Romero.
Catch Christian and Corey Miller every weekday here on Tide 100.9.
Coming up on the Miller's Edge, it's a wacky Wednesday. We'll talk about the SEC as it pertains to what's happening in the NCAA tournament this weekend, and can the Tide get it done in the Sweet 16? We'll have that and much more coming up on the Edge, right here on the Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC.
Available camps in Tuscaloosa and Bessemer. Tired, dirty children, guaranteed. More at growthoutcamp.org.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
We'll forecast a partially sunny sky today, the high 68 degrees. Tonight fair with the low at 43. Tomorrow partly to mostly sunny, the high 67. And a beautiful day on Friday, the sky sunny, the high Friday at 73. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 51 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
2-time state champion and 2-time NIT champion Barry Sanderson breaks down the latest in sports on Inside the Locker Room on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back to Inside the Locker Room. I get right up to the Yellowwood Hotline. We'll get Cowboy in the show. Good morning, Cowboy.
Hey, Cowboy. How you doing, Barry? Coach?
We're good.
Coach, what makes you think this team might be any different than any you had when you get to this Sweet 16 game here?
Oh, I think they got a better draw than I ever got, but they're good, and I think they're. I don't know what you mean by the question, but I just think Alabama shoots the ball better. I don't know that that North Carolina can defend the 4 shooters Alabama has on the perimeter if they're well. I know the inside game is maybe lacks a little bit compared to Carolina's, but these teams are shooting a lot of threes versus these teams that are shooting not near as many. But according to my record, has been winning out.
Don't you think they just need to get North Carolina in a gas game, just up and down the floor, empty your tank, just rip it?
Well, they're going to do that. They take the basketball to the basket. They try to touch inside, go to all the goal before they throw it back out. They dribble drives, and they've got to be good defensively. Alabama's got to be able to play defense in a way that keeps them in the game, and they played harder, but Barry indicated, and I did too, that it was a little bit easier not to go over so many screens. I thought they played harder, and I guess they worked there. But I think it's according to how they are defensively. Talking about Alabama rather than how they shoot it. Maybe I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I've been around a few years, and I've lived these Sweet 16 games, and back in your day, man, I was really into them. Now I just say, we
lost so many of them.
I'm gonna really get excited, but till then, I'm just gonna sit back and hold my powder.
We lost all 6.
One of the things you have to look at the free throw line. North Carolina, good free throw shooting team. They shoot 76%. They're taking 825 free throws. Their opponent 624. They're going to throw the ball in the paint. Can you defend Baycott in the paint? Will be a real key to me. North Carolina if they rip and run, which Alabama's going to do, North Carolina's going to score 100, Cowboy, because these guys score.
What are we thinking? 103, 101, 102, 100, 98? That's what we're kind of thinking here, right?
Well, I'm saying the faster you play, the more you're on defense, the more you're fouling. So, and these guys, they've got some veteran guys. R.J. Davis, Baycott. These guys played a lot.
The Notre Dame player, what's his name?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Cormac.
It's his 6th year, the Notre Dame guy.
Yeah, so they're old. Alabama's not young either, but I just don't see how Wrightsville plays if he had a concussion. There's not enough time to have him ready to play. So you lose a shooter and a defender there, and so your depth starts to go down. And Grant Nelson's got to play better. Let's just be honest. He's not playing very well right now.
Hey, one thing, it's not really talked about a lot, Coach, but I think that 1982 team you had, we really played North Carolina tough that night. They had Jordan. We just got some calls that didn't go our way that night.
We got some calls, and no doubt we played great. We sure did.
Jim Bain was the ball head official. He was horrible.
Terrible. Son of a buck. You know what I'm saying.
All right, Cowboy. There you go.
Good, guys.
Thank you, buddy. All right, that's it for today's show. Remember, tomorrow we have Pete Chilcutt on. We'll look forward to visiting with Pete. Also, JC will join us at 7:30. The Gary Harris Show is next, so keep it locked in. You listen to Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC. It's the home of Alabama sports. Have a great day, everybody.